What's up, Commanders fans? Welcome to this week's Commanders Countdown. Not much news other than that the first game is in a few days, finally. Our first game is on
Yep.
September 11th, this upcoming Sunday. There is a game
Yep.
tomorrow, obviously, but our first game will be Sunday. Looking forward to that. The
Absolutely.
final 53-man roster has been released, and we have that up here on the screen.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, as far as who made it, let's just talk about a couple surprises here. Obviously, the decision to carry three quarterbacks, not particularly surprising. Obviously, Heineke, Wentz, and Howell all getting on the team, and the active roster didn't want to chance losing a guy on the practice squad. Running back, this was the more interesting one. They did keep four backs. Obviously, Brian Robinson Jr., who's now, going to probably miss, which that's an update. He's been seen on crutches already,
I
making,
forgot about that.
miraculous headway and expected to only miss about 4 weeks. So he won't be out of the lineup long. But obviously, that's going to cause them to elevate Jarrett Patterson, who initially got cut.
Is he on the practice squad or did he get cut?
He initially got cut. He got brought back to the practice squad, and then what ended up happening is, what happened to Brian Robinson, where he got unfortunately shot, happened, and then he got elevated off the practice squad. So the running backs that they'll have are going to be McKissick, Gibson, Jonathan Williams, and Jarrett Patterson. So obviously with it expected to be Gibson taking the majority of those carries again, and McKissick being used more in the pass catching situations. At receiver,
That move, though, to drop Patterson, just wanted to say quickly, I kind of expected that he would be taking over Jonathan Williams. I think I maybe said
yeah,
that on a previous show.
yeah, we did. We definitely thought that he would make it over Williams, especially because Jonathan Williams has been. I think he went to camp last year with the team and didn't make it. He was a practice squad player, so obviously he showed something different this offseason and made the final roster. So congratulations to him. But good that they didn't lose Jarrett Patterson either, because obviously he's a lifelong Washington fan. So really, really a good story having him on the team. So 6 receivers is what they kept. Obviously, you knew they were going to keep at least. You knew Terry, Curtis Samuel, and Jahan Dotson, the first round rookie pick, weren't going anywhere. But it's like, who were going to be the final, 2 or 3 that they kept? Well, they kept Dax Milne, who had a pretty good preseason. They kept Cam Sims, who's been sticking around for a couple seasons. He had a really impressive touchdown catch from Taylor Heineke in the preseason. And they kept, let's see, who's the other one?
Somewhat of a not appointment, but he hasn't really lived up
De'Ami
to
Brown,
his hype.
Yeah. I was seeing a lot of people upset about that because they were thinking that, the regime is just determined to keep a draft pick just for the sake of doing it. A lot of people thought that, maybe Alex Erickson, who you guys got from Cincinnati, could have filled that spot, or, there were other players that it looks good in the preseason. But also, Sony Michel's brother, Markin Michel, he also looked pretty good. He was another guy that was in the running. But yeah, that's who they picked up. At tight end, they ended up keeping 5, which usually you keep 3 or 4. Ron going tight end heavy. And this could change. This could always change before. A lot of times these are getting flexed, and, it could change based on a matchup. Logan Thomas, obviously, John Bates, Cole Turner, Armani Rogers, and Curtis Hodges are the 2 surprises, 2 rookies. Then along the offensive line, you've got your Trey Turner, Andrew Norwell, Wes Schweitzer, Charles Leno Jr., Chase Roulier, Chris Paul, not from the NBA, Sam Cosme, Sadiq Charles, who had a really rough camp in preseason, made the roster. A lot of people thought Sadiq might not make it, but Sadiq didn't make the roster, and Cornelius Lucas, who recently had a baby. Congratulations to him. Well, he didn't. His wife didn't, but they had a baby.
We think we get it.
Yeah. Let's see here. On the defensive side of the ball, they kept, and keep in mind that this is, not gonna conspicuous by his absence is Chase Young. Obviously, he's going to be on the PUP list and miss the first 4 games of the season. Everybody, knows that. Also, another thing, there were rumors coming out about Chase potentially. I think we should address this real quick about him re-aggravating, the injury.
It came from all of a sudden that just was popping up again. And it's like,
yeah,
what?
Yeah, so
I think
Chase
this
wasn't
in
even
June or something. Somebody posted something in June about it, and then this thing about being at the Von Miller's camp, which he wasn't even at.
Yeah, he wasn't even at Von Miller's camp. The only Washington player that went to that was Deron Payne, and Deron Payne did not get injured. So, false news, did not happen. Happy to report, because I saw that and I was like, oh no. But yeah, happy to report that that's bullshit. But yeah, so you'll see on the defensive line, no Chase Young. They do plan on giving snaps in his spot. It's going to be James Smith-Williams and Casey Toohill, 2 guys that were on the team last year, getting snaps in his place until he gets back. Obviously, your other defensive end is Mr. Montez Sweat. They also have Shaka Toney and Effie Obata at the defensive end. And then at the defensive tackle, Daniel Weiss, who had a badass preseason. Really happy to see he got on the team.
Glad that he's there, with Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne. Yeah. And then depending on Fedarian Mathis looked pretty good as well in preseason.
Fedarian looked pretty good. Yeah. Absolutely.
With that entire defensive tackle set there.
Yep. And then at linebacker, probably the most controversial position on the team, according to a lot of Washington fans, because a lot of people aren't happy with the current state of that. But yeah, let's. And actually, there's one addition that I have to make to this, because I don't know if you heard about this, but John Bostic was re-signed. So John Bostic is back with the team, former Washington player. So they have him at linebacker. He's not listed here on the list. They also have Milo Eifler, Jamin Davis, obviously, last year's first-round pick, and Cole Holcomb, obviously.
David Mayo. Am I not seeing the whole list?
That one must have cut it off. Okay, so
some names missing here. Okay, it's fine. We're good.
Yeah, we'll make sure that we get the expanded, the whole list off there. It's just it cut it off on the screenshot, but yeah, I've got the whole list here, bud. So don't worry about that. But yeah, so Cole Holcomb, David Mayo, Jamin Davis, John Bostic, Milo Eifler, Dejon Harris, who you'll see on the list, was cut, and John Bostic took his place. So that is one mistake to report on this list. This list is when they initially reported the 53-man roster. Then at cornerback, this is a surprising move. I'll have to look to see if they've addressed it since. Let's see. It's still showing just 4. Okay. So they kept 4 corners, which teams usually keep a minimum of 5 corners, sometimes 6. They kept starters Kendall Fuller and William Jackson III, and, expected nickel corner Benjamin St. Juste. They also had Christian Holmes on the roster, who looks like he's been replaced by former 49er. You guys picked him up when we cut him, one of our 7th round picks, Tariq Castro Fields. So he was a guy that was in camp with us until recently, and now he's over with you guys. But yeah, as of right now, you guys only have 4 corners, which is kind of surprising, because usually teams carry 5. If a team comes out in like a 5 receiver set, I guess if that happens, they'll just slide a safety over there or something.
Safeties, if they have to, if it's a deep set like that, obviously they can just slide one of them over, like you said.
Okay, yeah, for sure. I thought that's what you said. I just wanted to confirm. Okay, and then they've got at safety, and so they kept 4 corners, but they kept 5 safeties. So I guess they've got some versatility at the position. So obviously Cam Curl, who we know is going to miss the first couple, at least the first game with the thumb injury. Might miss some more time beyond that. They have Derek Forrest, Percy Butler, Jeremy Reeves, and Bobby McCain at safety as well. And then for the last three guys on the roster, the special teams unit, Tress Way, Joey Sly, and long snapper Cameron Cheeseman. No surprises there. Obviously, same set returning from last year.
The long snapper we had forever. But it seems like it's going decently with the Cheeseman. So
Cheeseman, he's been decent so far. Yeah, no issues to report, luckily. So there's that. Also, in other news, Ryan Kerrigan, but he was hired as assistant defensive line coach. So he's going to be assisting defensive line coach Jeff Scanina in his day-to-day operations and helping with the defensive line. So obviously, good to see Kerrigan back with the team after he spent that year away with the Eagles.
I watched one press conference with him talking to the media after the practices and what it's like being a coach, and I'm really happy about it. It seems like he's going to fit in well there. Being a veteran player and it seems like he's got the right mentality for it. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be a good thing for the team.
He knows all these guys like John Allen, Montez Sweat, Chase Young. A couple years ago, he was sharing a locker room with these guys, so he's got really good camaraderie with them, and they really respect him a lot. It's a good move.
I mean, and he's clearly a great player. I think as long as he can get into that, because coaching and playing is a very different thing. But based on the press conference I watched, it sounds like he sees that and he understands. He's like, it's surprising the different mindset it puts me in being in coaching rather than just playing in my position alone and I am. I think it's gonna. I hope. You never know, but I hope it's gonna work out well. I'm optimistic about it. It's always nice to see a longtime player come back to the organization.
Yeah, and great players don't always make great coaches. The case that always comes to mind is Wayne Gretzky. Greatest hockey player of all time, but he was a terrible coach. But sometimes you do get it, but you just have to. I guess it's just changing that mindset, and but he's got experiences that he can share, from doing it so long in the league. And
one other quick little note, I guess. I've seen this post as well about that FedEx Field has the most expensive beer in the NFL. Now there's a caveat to this if you don't pay attention enough. It's a 25-ounce beer. So you're getting more beer.
I think
it's like $14 for the beer. And like for example, like the Ravens Stadium, as far as I know, only sells like 12-ounce cans, and they're like $7 or $6 or something. So it's like almost the same price. But if you look at it,
ass Baltimore. Jesus.
But I imagine the beers are they're selling
OE 40s at the snack bar. Like, here you go.
Oh man.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's good to know. So, because I saw that and I was like, oh no, because we had the segment about all the Anheuser-Busch pulling out. So we were wondering what was going to happen with the beer. So good to know that at least.
Think about it. I'm like, oh, you get a bigger beer, but like I live somewhere warm, as do you. In Florida, Arizona, It's like, well, it's always hot. I'm like, I don't want a 25-ounce beer. It's just gonna be hot halfway through. But I'm thinking of the game I went to in D.C. in November. I'm like, oh, it was like 50 degrees outside, so it'd actually probably be fine. But just a little random thing I'm sure people have seen around online. If you didn't know, there are different sizes to the beers. That is kind of the difference in the price. But yeah.
If you don't know, now you know, because I didn't know. So I wasn't aware. And I guess the last thing we have really is, other than and I'll just mention this. That 53, those 53 guys we mentioned, that's the 53 initial Washington Commanders. So pretty significant there on the first ever Commanders team. Now there were 8 captains named. That also broke today. 2 returning from last year. Those being Terry McLaurin and John Allen. I don't think anybody's going to disagree with either of those. In addition, quarterback Carson Wentz, left tackle Charles Leno, tight end Logan Thomas, Cole Holcomb, Kendall Fuller, and punter Tress Way were also named captains. Like I said, in addition
Logan
to
Thomas, Tress Way, and Cole Holcomb last year also captains?
No,
No?
they were
Really?
not. The only ones that
None of
returned
them?
as captains from last year were John Allen and Terry McLaurin.
All right. I don't know why I thought that then. Well,
Yeah,
all right.
Chase Young was one last year, and he's not obviously this year.
Yeah.
So
Well, Charles Leno definitely wasn't.
yeah, Charles Leno is yeah.
So, all right. Well,
No.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so and then Chase Young though is an alternate captain. Obviously, if one of those players gets injured and doesn't travel with the team anymore, there were 3 alternate captains named. One was Chase Young, one was safety Jeremy Reeves, and the other one was running back J.D. McKissick. So obviously those guys could step in and be alternate captains if they need to be. But that was who was voted on by the team. And anything else that you wanted to cover this week, bud?
Forward to that first game on Sunday.
Yeah, against the Jaguars. So be interesting to see. They're going to be rolling out there with maybe no James Robinson at running back, which would help you guys out. It might just be Travis Etienne. Too.
Team out too because he's one of my running backs.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Well,
ETN,
hopefully he has
so.
a decent game, but not too good of a game.
But yeah, exactly. They still lose, but
it's like you want him to have like 73 yards, but like not get in the end zone. It's like I just need you to produce. Yeah. All right. Well, join us next week. We will be recapping game 1 against the Jaguars, which hopefully is a win. It should be a win. I mean, you can never take a game for granted in the NFL, but join us next week, everybody, and like and subscribe if you haven't already. We've been growing a lot. We really appreciate you.